you're listening to the Content Sells Podcast, the show all about how to create content to attract, convert, and keep your ideal clients. Welcome to episode 254. I'm Suzi Dafnis, and here with me is my co-host, Michelle Falzon. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, Suzi. I am doing great, and I am loving today's episode for so many reasons. First off, this is an update to one of our most popular episodes ever. And secondly, it's about something that's just so fundamental to the success of every single listener to this show, I would hazard a guess, and that is how we craft an offer that actually sells.
And I am also excited because we've packed this updated episode with fresh insights, some powerful new examples, and the lessons that we've learned from helping now thousands of women business owners generate millions of dollars in sales over the past 9 years. And it's been 9 years that we'll talk about in a minute since we did the original episode, and we've just referred to it so many times. So as I said, we've learned a lot from having created millions of dollars in sales in our own offers over that time as well. So whether you're tuning in for the first time with us or you're revisiting this topic and you're a fan of the original episode, there is something here for everyone. Michelle, as I said, I can't believe it's been 9 years since the original episode, which was called How to Craft an Offer That Sells, which aired in, get this, 2016.
It is a mind-blowing fact that I cannot even believe it. I was completely blown away when we look back at the release date of this episode.
Yeah, like that was a different lifetime. But, you know, we wanted to redo this episode, but why was it that we decided now was the right time to revisit it?
Well, I think we've both got a lot to say about that. And first of all, crafting a compelling offer is still the cornerstone of successful content marketing. And that's, what this show's all about. So it's always a good time to know how to craft an offer that sells. And as anyone who has listened to this show for a while will know, one of the big drivers for us starting this podcast way back in the day was because we saw people creating content that was taking a ton of time, costing them a ton of money, and not getting them any closer to getting clients and creating income and making sales. So a basic tenet of this show is this idea of no content without conversion. And that means you need to understand how each piece of your content is ultimately leading someone to buy from you. I mean, this show is literally called Content Sells. So at the heart of it is this idea that your content has to ultimately lead to a paid offer. And without that clear offer in place, you're likely, feeling that pain of spinning your wheels and creating content that doesn't deliver results.
Absolutely. And in the 9 years since our original How to Craft an Offer That Sells episode, the online marketing space has exploded in growth, and there's so much more competition. And just some facts that we've pulled together: the global e-commerce market size 9 years ago was $1.86 trillion in 2016. And it's now projected to reach $6.8 trillion this year. So that's a 265% increase in that period of time. And if you're someone who sells your knowledge online as a coach or a consultant, a course creator, there's been a massive increase in competition and in opportunity since 2016. And the value of the e-learning market in 2016 was already huge at around $33 billion. It's now over $200 billion. So that's more than a 500% increase in those years. And with that growth has come a flood of course providers, of coaches, of authors, and a whole lot of other people who are competing for the attention and dollars of your ideal customer.
Wow, there's some amazing statistics.
Huge,
it really had your flood is right, And this unprecedented growth means more businesses are competing for attention online alongside of you. And so a strong, irresistible offer has never been more crucial to cutting through all this noise. And here's what we've seen. Over that time, over the last 9 years, we've kept our eyes on this. We've been making offers. We've been helping other people make offers. As others have struggled or even maybe gone out of business during that sort of massive time of growth and competition, we've seen firsthand how mastering this skill, and it is a skill, of creating high converting offers can transform a business. So in the Her Business Marketing Success Mastermind program that Suzi and I run together, For example, we've helped our masterminders in that time refine their offers to achieve all kinds of breakthroughs around things like how much they can charge, the type of clients they can get to buy from them, the conversion rates they're getting so they can make their marketing super profitable and put more money into lead generation because they're getting a good return on that investment because they've got a high converting offer. And so many other aspects of making offers over that time that we've been able to help our masterminders create growing, thriving businesses, all while many other businesses stagnated or went backwards or even are not, sadly, not here anymore because things got so competitive. And so we're going to be sharing some of the masterminder stories in particular today just to illustrate the types of offers and how to apply some of the concepts and ideas we're talking about.
And I'm really looking forward to sharing those stories. And it makes a massive difference when you know this. And we're also going to do a companion episode to this one where we go deep into one of those case studies that we talked about so that you can get a better sense of what we're sharing today in action in a real life situation, and more on that a little later. We'll give you some details about that. Now, everything we've been talking about so far is also why inside of her business, I've declared this the year of the offer. We're going to be focused all year on building more capability and providing more resources and opportunities for women business owners to get better at making offers. And not just any offers, we're talking about high converting offers. And these are offers where you're pricing and positioning yourself in a way that is profitable, it's sustainable, while also being irresistible to your ideal client. So they can't help but say yes to these offers so that you can get the growth that you want and so that you can create the impact and the income that you want for yourself and your business.
Suzi, I just love this initiative so much. And as part of this year of the offer, you and I are going to be collaborating on some exciting offer-related projects as well, where we will actually be providing the opportunity for business owners to get our direct support on their offers, like literally let us roll up our sleeves and get our hands on your offer, which I cannot wait for.
I also cannot wait. Now, the reason I'm declaring this the year of the offer is because if there's one thing that I can truly transform a business, my business, your business, it's having at least one high converting offer. And I truly believe there really is no time to waste in getting a high converting offer for your business, especially right now, especially for women business owners. And like we've just been talking about, with so many businesses moving online and competition increasing, you need to stand out. And your offer is what sets you apart and convinces people to choose you over someone else. But it's also the right time because women in business have some unique challenges, and not having a high converting offer is the key reason for many of those challenges. Now, we know that while women lead the way in many areas, like starting more small businesses, and I believe the current rate, Michelle, is something like 3 times faster than men.
Wow.
The sad truth is only 13% of women-owned businesses generate more than $100,000 a year, which breaks my heart, right? Because we're all working so hard. And that shrinks to just 2% of women business owners generating more than $1 million a year. Now, I'm proud to say, Michelle, you know this, that the members of her business are on average generating more income than most small business owners in Australia in their businesses, because this is something that we have worked really hard on inside of our membership. But when we look at those statistics, only 13% of women business owners generating more than 100,000, only 2% more than $1 million. And we'll couple that with the fact that men own 3 times as many businesses with employees as women, so their businesses have more people that they're employing. It's clear that women-led businesses are typically smaller in terms of their revenue and in terms of the size of their teams. Now, one of the most powerful ways I see that we can change this is to help women get more educated, to give them more skills, to give them more support and more capability around making high converting offers. Because many, many, many women business owners that I meet struggle with various aspects of their offers, including undercharging for their services. And I know that's something we're on about all the time, Michelle. And they discount their value, or they feel a little bit hesitant and really stand back when it comes to setting top dollars, premium prices. The other thing we see a lot is over delivery. It's another trap. Women often give so much more than what's included in their offers, but without being compensated for that extra effort. And even knowing what to put in an offer is a big problem because there are some key and specific ingredients in a successful offer that you can learn and that can make a big difference, a huge difference actually to your results. But I want to go back to what I said, and that is this reluctance to make offers in the first place. So many women we speak to fear that they're going to come across as too salesy or too pushy or whatever that stigma is, so they shy away from even asking for the sale in the first place. When you've got a great offer, the way that we're talking about offers here today, it makes asking for the sale so much easier. And without a clear, compelling offer, it's really hard not only to get some money in the door, but to build a sustainable business, one that sustains you, one that sustains itself. You cannot create consistent cash flow, and that uncertainty often leads to stress and to burnout. And women have so much to offer, but we're holding ourselves back when it comes to packaging and presenting our value in a way of an offer that sells.
Oh, I absolutely love this, Suzi. I feel like I'm on your podcast there, just listening to all of this great passion and truth being told about women and offers, and I'm all for it. And I really do believe in this declaration you've made about the year of the offer. It is such a powerful focus for us all, because when you get your offer right, like you're saying, everything else in your business flows more easily. You attract better clients, I have found. You feel more confident. You're able to grow your business without constantly hustling for every sale. And today we're really going to take a deep dive into those specific ingredients that you just mentioned, Suzi, that really does make your offer irresistible and high converting. You know, what do we mean by high converting? We mean when you put that offer in front of people, a high percentage of them are going to say yes, because you've done a great job making that offer so compelling. And in fact, there are 7 key elements of a high converting offer that we want to share with you. I'm going to do it right here on today's episode, because in addition to all the great reasons Suzi just gave you, here is also what we know. We already know that you have a great product or service. You're probably so diligent, so conscientious, so talented, so well trained, you know, so capable. But guess what? People do not buy your product. Newsflash. They don't buy your product, they buy your offer. And that is how you package and position that product, what it is you sell. And this process, it's like learning a new language. It can feel bewildering. It can feel overwhelming. And you might be asking yourself, okay, but what do I include? How do I make it irresistible? What's the right price? What? Lots of questions. And that's why we've distilled our personal decades of experience creating high converting offers and also helping others grasp this into the 7 things every offer needs to succeed. Plus, this, I think we're both really excited about. We've got a really powerful download that we're making available as part of today's show, as a companion piece to the audio podcast. You're going to get this PDF download, and it's our brand new Ultimate High Converting Offer Blueprint. And you might even want to go ahead and download that now if you're in a position to do that, so you can follow along with us, because it's got all of these elements in there and it's in a worksheet format. You can even start taking notes right here, right now, as we go through the show. Now, if you're driving or jogging, obviously, you know, that's not so easy to do, or you're not near a computer, all good, because we're going to talk you through the process. You don't need the download to keep listening. And maybe you can grab the download later as a follow-up to today's show.
Okay, quick pause right here. I think we ought to put the URL in here.
Yes.
But also, Oh, got it. Sorry. I just want to stop here and check your audio, because would you come a little closer to your microphone? I just wonder if you're not coming through the mic.
Well, I'm sitting right on top of the mic.
But is the audio in the mic and not the computer?
Does that sound any different?
Go again.
Does that sound any different? I'll just say a few more words.
It doesn't. No. It just sounded a little distant, but that's okay. If that's the microphone, then that's fine. It could be my headset. These are old AirPods. So it could be that.
Yeah, I don't know. I did listen to a few of our more recent apps just to check the sound quality, and it all sounded good. So
Okay. All right. No worries. Okay. Well, I will make a note right there, and then I will go on now with what's next. So
cool.
I probably should have paused that. That's okay. I'll make that a note for Scott to edit out. Okay. Now you can get this special download that Michelle just mentioned. It's called the Ultimate High Converting Offer Blueprint, and you can grab it if you can right now. Otherwise, I will mention this again later at herbusiness.com/craft and offer. That's all one word. herbusiness.com/craft and offer. It's got really great information, including the 7 elements of a high converting offer that we're going to cover. And just before we get into those, Michelle, I want to pick up on something that you said. You said people don't buy your product, they buy your offer. And I want to unpack this important idea a bit more. Now, your offer, what is your offer? It's not your product or your service. It's how you package and present that product or service in a way that makes your audience say, yes, I need this now. So think about it this way. Your product might be a 6-week coaching program, but your offer is how you communicate the value of that program. What's included? What's the price? Are there any bonuses, guarantees, scarcity factors? It's the entire package that helps your audience understand why they should buy it and why they should buy it now. And it actually differentiates you from other service providers in a similar area. You'll hear more about that as we go on. Or if you sell products, like you might sell skincare products, like our amazing masterminder, Loretta Brandolini. Her business is Reluminate Beauty. For Loretta, she's not just selling 50 grams of jojoba seed oil, shea butter, and kakadu plum extract. She's selling something that she's branded the Kakadu Plum Dream Night Cream for face and neck. She's packaged that up into an offer that includes free shipping and her 100% no-risk money-back guarantee. And she's making clear on her site that it's natural, it's vegan, it's cruelty-free. And she's often bundling it with other products as part of a special limited-time promotional offer. She's applying her beautiful Reluminate Beauty branding to it and putting a gorgeous, easy-to-use pump pack with it and so on. Right? So it's a totally different way to position and present her offer.
I love the way you put that. Like, it's not just the ingredients, jojoba oil and shea butter or whatever. I mean, it's so clear when you put it like that. But so often that's what we're doing when we think we're explaining our product. We're just talking about all the ingredients, which is not at all compelling. But when you talk about how it's going to overcome the risks, or you give somebody some urgency or a reason to buy now, they're the things that make it high converting. And, without a compelling offer, even the best product with the best ingredients can fail to sell. And that's because people are not buying what you're selling. They're buying how what you're selling makes them feel, the problem that what you're selling solves, the benefits they perceive they're going to get. And your offer needs to help overcome objections and fears and risks. It is to create action-taking behavior. And I'll guess, newsflash, another one, people are not logical. A lot of that's emotional. And in fact, a lot of the details that you might think are important, because we're all obsessed with our own product, I get that, but the details you might think are important are not what your ideal client needs to hear when you make your high converting offer.
And you need to craft your high converting offer. And remember, we're going to tell you how to do that right here in this episode. You want to do that before you start doing things like creating marketing materials or thinking about lead magnets and email campaigns and ad campaigns. And you always want to begin with what we call your what. That is, what are you going to sell and how are you going to package that into your offer, and do that in conjunction with who is this offer for. So that's your what and your who. So it's always solving the problem and being positioned in a way that's relevant to the person, the specific person that you want to have buy your offer. Now, these are foundational pieces that you want to have in place before you do anything else. And this in itself is a mistake that I see many business owners making.
You're so right about that. Jumping into creating a lead magnet, but like sell what and for whom. Yeah, brilliant. So 100% to that. And it's really, like you said, getting clear on your who and your what first before you start building out those other marketing materials. And like we said, these 7 universal elements that you want to be thinking about when you craft your offer, they're what you want to have top of mind first, right out of the gate. And you can apply these universal elements regardless of what industry you're in or who your ideal client is, or whether you sell a high-ticket consulting service or a low-price physical product or anything in between. These 7 elements are always present. And the first of these 7 elements of a high-converting offer is pricing. Now, we started with pricing because it really helps to clarify a lot of other things about your offer. It gets you making a lot of decisions about things that are going to make all the other elements we're going to talk about a lot easier to define. Because once you have a price, you know where this product or service, and we'll use those 2 words a bit interchangeably today, where your product or your service fits in your business. Is it a high-priced offer, a low-priced offer? Is it something you're pricing super competitively to sell a lot of so you can get some market share, so you can take those buyers and sell them the next thing that you've got to offer them? And that's where you're going to make your profit. So sometimes we sell things break even or at a very small profit so we can attract a bunch of people and then sell them something else. So is that the pricing strategy? Or is it something you want to price at a premium to immediately create a lot of profit, to create status and exclusivity? And starting with pricing also helps to make what you're selling a lot more concrete. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's just say that you're listening to us right now and you sell consulting. And imagine me putting some air quotes around that word consulting. Consulting is a hard thing to say a price for. There are so many variables. Many people are, creating custom consulting packages. So having to narrow down to a specific price or a price range in some cases really helps you to clarify exactly what you're offering. Now, this is a lot more straightforward if you have like a product or a course which has got, one price. And often there you're working with constraints like what does it cost you, or what have you got to share with others like affiliates or providers or software partners or whatever. Maybe there's even recommended retail pricing specified by the manufacturer or the wholesaler. But if you're someone who creates something custom for each client, or you're wondering, hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing premium pricing or not, all good. We're going to cover some of those bases for you now as you think about your price point.
And pricing is such a big topic. We could do a whole episode on pricing. And we have. It was episode number 82. It's called 3 Profitable Pricing Strategies for Small Business Owners. So we recommend you go ahead and check that out. We go deeper into the topic of pricing. We're going to put a link to that in our show notes, and I'm going to give you the details for the show notes a little later on. And you might find that we do refer to some other episodes in order to keep this episode moving along. But know that we have been doing this podcast for 9 years. There's lots of resources available for you, but we want to give you those elements of an offer. So a couple of key things to bear in mind when it comes to your pricing and when it comes to setting your price for your product or service. And the first is there's a tendency to undercharge. I mentioned that earlier. And this is especially true for women in business. So, for example, in our wonderful Marketing Success Mastermind program, it's a year-long program that Michelle and I run, we had a situation with one of our masterminders, Ange Sinclair of the Digestive Detective. That's the name of her business. She helps people with their digestion. Now, she was embarking on a brand new offer. She was running in-house training programs for large organizations. Now, thankfully, Ange had the mastermind to bounce her ideas off, and initially she was going to charge an amount, which was a really small amount for this service. But with the feedback from the group and other women who had experience knowing what to charge in these situations and knowing how to convey the value, she ended up quoting a price that was, get this, 500% higher than what she'd originally thought. Now, did she have to make a big gulp before hitting send on that quote? Yes, she absolutely did. Did she take some convincing to even contemplate that price in the first place? Yes. And did she win that contract? You bet she did. And I remember her posting almost with disbelief in the Mastermind Facebook group that the client that she had put the proposal to almost immediately messaged back and said yes.
That was such a fun moment, wasn't it? And just
Yes.
having been able to see the process that led up to it. And there it is, a high converting offer, great success rate, and all those things you said at the start, sustainable, profitable. Imagine how much better she felt about that project, knowing she'd charged this great amount for it. And the benefit here is having the advice and the support of those who know. We're going to give you all of these elements today, and you're going to bring the knowledge you've got to it. But you may need to seek out advice and support from others. Just because you know these elements doesn't mean you've instantly dialed in all the nuances related to it, but you're in a good place. Especially when you're starting in a new market or you've got a new type of product or service like what Ange was experiencing, you want to do your research. What's the going rate? Get advice from a peer or someone with real life experience in that sector, or somebody who has sold that type of offer to an adjacent sector before. And that's what Ange experienced with our masterminders. Now, she got advice from women in totally different spheres. Ange helps with digestion. She got help from people that work in property and other aspects of health and HR and so on. But they all had experience selling those same types of products to large organizations. So they were able to give her that intel. So you want to get a community around you, even if you have to invest like our masterminders do. Get a coach, get a mentor, join a group like ours. The payback on just one realization around pricing, like Ange had, can put you miles in front of what you're paying for that advice or support. And here's the thing about undercharging. Not only does it create stress and make life harder for you when you get the sale, undercharging can sometimes lead clients to think your product or service is not good enough. And this happens all the time. They think, well, that's too cheap. That can't be any good. So you have to be the first person to buy your offer. That is, to believe in the value, to opt in mentally to your offer and to the value that you're bringing. And that's so important when you're thinking about price. Don't undersell yourself. And another of our wonderful masterminders is Tasha Jennings, and she creates incredible value. In fact, priceless value. She helps families conceive a baby naturally. And when you compare the pricing that she has now with the pricing that she had when she first joined the mastermind, it's chalk and cheese. And that's because she's now got a range of high converting offers where the price really matches the value she's delivering. Now, she was over delivering. She was charging a very small amount for people to work with her closely one-on-one, and she was putting all of this time into it. And it was really, at the urging of the group to say that price for that particular set of inclusions, that particular offer where you work one-on-one with someone is too low. It's not matching the market. You're underselling yourself. So now she's got this range of offers where the price matches what she's delivering. To work with her one-to-one, she's justifiably now charging a premium. But she's also got courses and other things, other ways of helping people at a range of price points. So she's not giving away her precious time like many people do who have expertise when they're working one-to-one. So it's really important that you get this advice, that you don't lock yourself into a structure that's not going to support you to have a sustainable business. Get the research, get the knowledge. And also it's really important that your pricing positions where you want to be in the market.
Absolutely. And this point that you're making here about where do you want to be in the market, how do you want to position yourself, is so important. Do you want to be the premium offer, or do you want to meet the market at market price? Or there are cases for offering a competitive price. And we see large organizations like hardware chain stores in Australia, Bunnings, for those of you who are familiar, but it's the same for those of you in the US. It'll be like one of your big hardware chains where they're offering, to beat the best price by 10% or whatever it is, because they're going for that competitive pricing positioning. At her business, we are at the premium end. So when it comes to the mentoring and training and masterminds and retreats and support that we provide women business owners, we position ourselves at the premium end. Right? Because what we're offering is valuable and women make a great return on their investment, but we can only give them that premium service if we're charging an equally premium price.
Yeah. And, that's a choice. Everybody can, whoever's listening, you're going to be the person that's assessing your market and assessing the opportunity and making that positioning decision. The key thing is that the pricing matches the positioning. The pricing will very much determine the positioning. Like Ange, if she'd gone in with that low ball offer, she might not have got that because that company might have looked at her and gone, well, she can't be any good. But when she went in with that pricing that really met the market, was just a little above the market actually, they were like, oh, yeah, right, that makes sense. Yes, let's sign off on that. And for me, like you, Suzi, I take on in terms of the premium pricing, I take on a small number of private clients, but I do charge a premium for what I do so that I'm really only attractive to businesses in my niche who and that is speakers, authors, coaches, and other thought leaders. I'm really only attractive to the ones who are big. They're turning over multiple millions of dollars. They've got large teams and, 80,000 plus people on their email list and global communities, but they can get an ROI, a return on investment on what I do. Whereas smaller businesses would struggle to do that. So I'm kind of using that price point to position myself in the market just by the forces of economics that only the bigger players are going to be able to justify that price point. But that's where the mastermind comes in. It's a way for smaller businesses who wouldn't get an ROI on those sort of top end services that I offer to get access to me and to Suzi, because you can't even get access to Suzi one-to-one at a more affordable price point. So we're positioning that different product, that different offer in a different part of the market to a different ideal client.
Yeah, and I just want to mention those things you said. Different price, different offer, different part of the market, and we're being very specific. So when we price the mastermind, we've done that in a way that reflects our positioning in the market. It is Australia's leading mastermind for women business owners. So we are not racing to be the cheapest, and we've included so much value. So every quarter we're hosting amazing 2-day events. We have our events in nice hotels. We have beautiful dinners. We give our masterminders gifts. We bring in amazing speakers. We deliver amazing experiences and support, all built into the offer that is the mastermind. So we can see the value of it. But we can also see the results that we're delivering, and we know our masterminders are getting a return on that investment. That is why it's a year-long program. That is why women have been in that program 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years. Right, because they continue to get that value. And we are aiming to attract women who already have 6-figure businesses that they want to grow. That's what makes us different. That's what positions us. We're for women who have 6-figure businesses that they want to grow into really high 6 figures or even 7 figures. So as you think about your pricing, think about both where in the market you want to position yourself and who you want to work with, who you want to attract.
This is so key, so fundamental. Another quick thing, just while we're talking about pricing, even the way you package up that pricing is something you want to be thinking about. For some of us, we might have a product that's going to sell much better if we simply put a pricing plan, like a payment plan in place. Maybe you want to think about how you can break the pricing up so it's going to be achievable for your audience. So for example, if you sell a big consulting package, maybe there's like a deposit and then some staged payments, or there's an initial thing they can buy from you just to get like the diagnostic so they can know, like, and trust you before they move on. Or, if you run a membership or some sort of recurring revenue service, maybe you let people pay you monthly or give them the choice between paying monthly and paying annually. Perhaps you can give people the option to pay in installments, depending on what makes sense for the product that you're offering.
Right. And that's really going to go back to what we were saying earlier is, what is the positioning, but who is that ideal client and what is their specific circumstance? Now, with our mentoring offer at Her Business, we made it so that when you purchase mentoring, you are committing to 4 sessions. And the reason is that we knew that within 4 mentoring sessions, we could create a big impact in their businesses. But women only had to pay for the first session. This made the barrier to entry so much lower. Now, their mental and emotional commitment, and the dotted line they signed off said that they were going to do 4 sessions, but they only had to pay right now for that very first session. And that made it such an easier decision for them to say, well, you know what, I'm going to pay for that first session. I'm going to get value. I'm then going to go on to the remaining sessions. There's also another strategy in that we may touch on a little later on. That is also part of crafting an offer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope you just, as you're listening to Suzi talk about that, I mean, that was something we spent time on and thought into. Okay, well, listen, how many sessions do we want them to buy and commit to upfront? Okay, well, that's going to be X dollars. That seems like a lot to get them to commit to right out the gate. Maybe we just get them to pay for one, but have them sign off on four. Like, you can see how we sort of got there, but it took thinking to do that. And sometimes we just don't take a beat. We don't get strategic at pricing. So it's not just the actual amount they will ultimately pay, but how do they go about paying you that money? And another great example is I was working with a client just towards the end of last year, and she did a big launch where she opened up opportunity to join her program for a short period of time, and then it closed. Now, when it closed, she hadn't hit her target. It was around the time of the election, and there's all sorts of other things going on. And what we decided to do was a very quick reopen strategy with the opportunity to pay for this program over 12 months. Now, previously, the payment plan in that offer was over 3 months. So you can see how those payments got smaller. The first payment was smaller. Then they could pay it over a longer period of time. And we had a 30% bump in sales. Now, I'm not saying you should always do a reopen, and there are pros and cons to 12 pays. I'm not saying you should do a 12 pay, but it's just another example of how the payment plans, you might come out with an offer. And Suzi and I have done this, where you come out with an offer and you think, we're just going to price it one time, one special launch price, and it might be lower than it's ever going to be again in the future. And that lets you come out with a big bang. And then it also gives you a contrast value between what it is today and what it's going to be the next time you offer it. Or there's a new product that we're working on right now that we're going to launch with a super special early bird price. So if you are the first one to buy, you can get it cheaper than those people who might buy, in another few weeks' time. This is all part of the strategic thinking around your pricing that you must do to have a high converting offer.
Yeah, right. And another one there that I just want to add is the group pricing. So, if you have 3 or more people from your organization coming to this event, then there's a special discount. So you want to think all that through. You want to keep it simple, easier for the client to understand, avoid any confusion. But we've given you a range of different ways you can think about it. But as Michelle said, the strategic thinking around your pricing is the first thing you want to do when it comes to creating your high converting offer. And Michelle, earlier you mentioned there might be some listeners who do a custom quote for everything they sell. And I want to loop back to that because I hear this quite a bit from her business network members. So let's say you're a leadership consultant and you go into a business and you work with them to put together a specific leadership development plan. You might be saying, well, how do I price on that ahead of time? Now, here's the big tip. You want to make it easy for people to buy from you. So there's something you can always do. So there's something you can do to make that happen, even if you have like this bespoke kind of pricing system. And this is the thing. Think about, is there something that you always do at the start of the project that you can create a standard price for? And then off the back of that, then offer people more bespoke programs with custom pricing. Let me give you an example. Now, this is again from our mastermind, and you'll see why this is an advantage. So the person I want to talk about is Tracy McLaughlin. Now, she runs a business with her husband, and the business is called Davis Ogilvy. And part of their service is helping farmers to subdivide their properties. She's in New Zealand. Now, every property is different, and they do have to do custom proposals on the actual subdivision work, but what we discovered in working with her was that there was something that they're doing at the start of every project that they could package and position into a specific price point, and that was the initial site review and evaluation of the subdivision possibilities and compliance. Everybody has to do that before whatever the project is. So we talked to Tracy about splitting that off from the big monolithic custom product and put a price on it. This way, it's much easier to sell that smaller part of the project that's always fairly consistent with each of her clients. It's clear and it's straightforward. And here's the magic part. Once you've done that initial assessment or that diagnostic or audit or whatever it might be that's part of your process, you've built rapport with a client. They know, like, and trust you. You can go back with a recommendation that really plays to the strengths of what you now know and your next step offer, because you're going to be far more likely to not only win that next part of the project, but to get there faster and with less pre-sale work and meetings and follow-up, etc. So if you sell large, expensive projects that are often bespoke in their pricing, maybe think about a smaller initial piece of the project that you can standardize the pricing around and offer that as a first step to get you in the door and to win the client over. Now, this is what strategic pricing looks like. And there is so much more that we could say on this, but I hope we've got your wheels turning and that you can go ahead and add your pricing ideas to your high converting offer blueprint, which is the freebie that comes with this episode. And you can get that right now. If you want to start scribbling those ideas while they're in your head, head to herbusiness.com/craft an offer and download it now. Now, what I want to say about the download is if you're on your computer and you're downloading it, you want to actually download it. Don't work on the online file, because to save your work, you want to actually download it onto your desktop and work on it there. Then it'll save whatever it is that you put into the blueprint. Alrighty. Are we ready for step number 2?
Oh, we are. That was the big one. Hey, everybody.
That was a big one.
That was the biggest.
Yeah, and it was an important one. We wanted to start with pricing, and that's the first element of a high converting offer. The second element in crafting an effective offer is getting clear on the inclusions. What does that mean? This is where you start by making a list of everything that your customer gets when they buy this offer from you. So if you sell personal training services, like physical fitness, personal training services, what does your client get when they book you for this specific offer? Is it a certain number of hours? Is it in your gym or is it at their home? Does it include any online training, programming, meal planning advice? Do you review their exercise diary via a monthly mindset call, etc.? Right? There's probably things that you're doing that you're not listing as part of your offer. If you have a physical product, how many other things does it include? Are there accessories? Are there batteries? Is there, a washcloth with that facial cleanser? Like, what is that you're already including that you haven't necessarily separated so that people can see that it's part of your offer?
So good. And a big mistake I see here, Suzi, is that people either overshoot this and include every little thing, or they undershoot the mark and fail to really spell out some of those things you've just given us examples of that have a high perceived value to their customer, even if the person who is creating the product or service is kind of overlooking them. And we can tend to do that. We can overlook the things that our customers will actually see as valuable, or we can assume that they kind of realize that that's included and they don't. So, for example, I've got a client and she's a keynote speaker and she has done a fantastic job of making sure she doesn't overlook all the things that her clients will see as valuable. And she did it exactly doing what you said, Suzi, was just like, looking at, first off, just listing out every little thing she did and then looking through it to find the things that would be valuable. So when she did that, she found that there was a lot of things that were kind of invisible beforehand to her clients that she was doing. She just wasn't drawing their attention to it when she was pitching for the work. So by just simply realizing that and stating that in her offer, and for some of us, we're stating our offer on a sales page. For some of us, we're putting it in a proposal. For some of us, it's in a sales conversation. For some of us, we're outlining it on a webinar or any combination of those things. By simply stating that these were included, she kind of got the competitive edge. And this included things like pre-event calls. She was doing these pre-event calls anyway, where she got she works with really, really big companies in America, and she would get their in-house jargon or, things that she could take and apply to the things she always talked about, but make it really specific to that company. Now, not all keynote speakers do that. So that was something she could really see how she was going to, put forward, how she was going to tailor it to their needs. She would also do this thing, because she's a perfectionist, is she would liaise with the AV team ahead of time to make sure there were absolutely no technical glitches when she got there and so on. So she, just by telling the right things about what she was already doing, got more bookings over other people who were not doing that. And the last time we shared on this topic in our last, the old episode that we're just updating now, we had one of our listeners respond to us afterwards and say they just loved that episode and they had completely overlooked some of the key parts of their offer. And they had like a framing service and they had just assumed that people would know all the stuff they were going to do. Like, for example, they had this special non-reflective glass that they would use in the framing. They didn't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
You know?
So good.
And they also did this thing where they would work with people to consult on the best frame for the image. So somebody might bring their painting or their print in and they would spend 30 minutes with that person. Hey, that's a thing. So you can actually include all of these things in your offer and really show the value of what you're providing. And you're starting to see probably how all these things build. That also helps you to charge a premium price, by the way. So it's a good way to think about your inclusions. Think about the process you go through when you deliver that product or service, like my friend, the keynote speaker, or like the framing service. Are there invisible value items you are currently providing that you can make visible by listing them as inclusions in your offer?
And I love that example of the framing. And here's the thing, you might think, oh, well, other consultants do the same thing. Other naturopaths, we all do the pre-consultation, consultation, or the onboarding or whatever. That doesn't matter. We're talking about crafting an offer where you are breaking these things out. You're describing them in your offer. You're putting a value to them. So get that thought out of your mind if you're listening and thinking, yeah, but I pretty much do what everyone else does. Yeah, but this is what I said earlier. We can have, and we've done this before, Michelle, we can have 3 naturopaths shoulder to shoulder, and the way that they craft their offer has them stand totally apart. So you want to be really specific here with your inclusions. But you also want to remember that you're likely a lot more interested, as Michelle mentioned earlier, in the nitty-gritty of what's included than your client is. So don't go off the rails talking about things that don't offer any value to your customer. You're always being strategic and you're including things that offer a benefit to your client. And a great rule of thumb is that if you can't think of a benefit to your customer for a specific feature of your project, don't mention it. And maybe you've all had that experience where we've been bored by a salesperson going on and on and on about features we don't really care about. When what we want to know is, how's this product or service going to help my health, my business, my body, my child, whatever it is, right? Really focusing on what the benefit is for your ideal client.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. And don't assume people understand the benefit of your thingy. You know, if you've got the non-reflective glass, point out why that's a inclusion worth knowing about, you know. So when you mount this picture in your home, the actual image that you've spent, you know, perhaps thousands of dollars on isn't picking up the light and being hard to see. It's always going to be in its best viewing position so that your investment pays off and that you can have the enjoyment of that beautiful piece of art. So you see what I did there was I said we feature non-reflective glass. That's the feature. That's the inclusion. But I've explained why on earth that even matters. So don't assume that someone knows what the benefit of something that you're including is. So do those 2 things that we've just talked about. 1, if it's not relevant to the client, just don't mention it. You can deliver on it because you've got to deliver on it to make the product work, but you don't have to talk about it in your offer. Remember we said it's not your product, it's how you package your product. That's what your offer is. So for example, Chantel Gilbert, another one of our amazing masterminders of Blue Gum Electrical Services. She sells solar and electrical services. And a lot of her products are somewhat technical in nature. So she has learned that she cannot assume people know the value of what she's including.
Right.
So she's learned to really spell that out for people. And that's been based on a lot of feedback from Suzi and myself and the other masterminders. So for example, I just went to her website today, Suzi, and had a look. And you know, she's includes things like on-site consultation, site inspection, usage review. This is if she's going in to do solar pre-approval. And why do I care about any of those things? Well, she's got a little statement under each of them. Site inspection, right? To get the lay of the land so we give the best recommendations to suit your property and make it look great. Usage review. We look at how much power and when you use it so we can design for winter months as well as summer months. So you see, I wouldn't have got that from usage review. Now she's starting to distinguish herself from that other solar provider who just went, oh, we turn up and we, give a proposal. We look at your site. She's really spelling it out. So always explaining the benefit and the reason why this inclusion is valuable is really important. And again, you might want to be making notes as we go. If you haven't already got the download, go ahead, grab that right now and enter into that download what your inclusions are. What are the things that maybe you've been keeping invisible? What are the things you've been featuring that you need to get the heck out of there because they're boring your client to tears? And in fact, that saying, you sold me into it and then you sold me back out of it.
Yeah.
You can do that by just laboring on about the inclusion. So get that download, the high converting offer blueprint. If you don't already have it, herbusiness.com/craft and offer, and go ahead and complete your first pass on what those inclusions might be.
And this is intimated by everything Michelle said. But when it comes to your inclusion, more is not necessarily better. It's having specific inclusions that provide a benefit that solves the problem for your ideal client. That's what you want to have in your inclusions. And then all the good advice Michelle just gave you about itemizing them, really bringing the invisible into the visible, looking at your process and saying, well, how do I make this a thing that I can mention as an inclusion? Very, very good.
Yeah, and in the next episode, when we go into the case study that we're going to feature in more detail, you'll see how she had 4 inclusions, only 4 things, and why that was so powerful in the way that she did it. So definitely tune into the next episode to get more insight into a real world example of that. Now, we're getting faster here, folks. We're getting into some momentum. We're grouping the third and the fourth elements together. Now, these third and fourth key elements to think about when crafting your high converting offer are naming and branding your offer. Now, this is all about making this offer clear and concrete in the mind of your prospects. So many times, Suzi, I see people ask me to review something that they've done, and I think, what are you selling? Does it have a name? Is it called something? And so giving something a name just helps you right from the start of your marketing to make it clear what the heck it is you're talking about. This marketing journey for your customer, they can see this consistent name, this consistent look and feel all the way through the marketing process.
So good. So good, so good. So think about, how are you making what you sell stand out? Now, we usually create a simple set of branding elements for our events. It's one of my favorite things to do, actually. Sometimes it's a logo. Sometimes it's a color theme, or a palette that we're going to use. Sometimes a particular fonts. Maybe it's an image or a few images that will always appear. Maybe it's the way that the name of the thing appears and is styled. So if you have a look at the blueprint that goes with this episode, you're going to notice a consistent branded look and feel. And everything is part of that branding. It's the colors, it's the fonts, it's the imagery, it's the indentations, it's the style of the bullets, it's all those things. And we're going to include this blueprint as part of a marketing campaign for a special opportunity that we have for women to work with us more closely on creating their high converting offer. And so we've been thinking a lot about the whole look and feel and how things are named so that it's all consistent and strategic. So when someone comes into that marketing funnel, whether it's from Facebook ads or a social post or an email or from our website, and whether they opt in for the lead magnet or come in another way, they're going to know that they're in the right place because of that branding consistency. And a great example of strong naming and branding is from our masterminder, Gillian Erskine of Forte School of Music. Now, she has a membership for piano teachers and it's called The Studio. Now, she's made this offer really desirable with the naming and branding that she chose. She spent a lot of time thinking about a really compelling name. Now, The Studio is what a lot of piano teachers call their practice. And she chose a look and feel for all her marketing around The Studio, which is a membership. And it was branding and a look and feel that would appeal to her ideal client. Now, most of the piano teachers that she helps are women. So it's got this beautiful cursive font in lovely pastel colors. And she's run that same cursive font and color scheme through her entire marketing funnel for this product, which is a membership. And goes from her ads, her emails, her sales page, her post sales, follow-up, etc. The slides she uses, all those things. Now, you do not have to come up with a logo for everything you sell. You might just use a consistent font or the same color scheme or color palette. But the point is to give your product or service some concreteness. So make it a thing that somebody can buy at a particular price, but with a name and a brand that is distinct to that offer.
So good. I'm just thinking about Loretta Brandolini from Illuminate Beauty, who we mentioned earlier. You know, every single packaging has the lovely Illuminate Beauty branding on it, right? But then she's using the consistent font as she puts the name of that product on there. It's all part of a family of products and services. So we actually have an episode on naming products, and that's episode 37, What's in a Name? How to Name Things. And we'll include a link to that in today's show notes. The show notes today are going to be so juicy. Make sure you do get those. And speaking of that, over in the show notes will be where we have the download for today. And you want to go and get that download if you haven't already and start filling in those third and fourth parts. What if you haven't yet named your offer? It's a new one, or you realize I've been calling this thing all kinds of different things.
Right.
Go ahead and give it a name. Now, for some of us, we're sometimes doing promotions like Loretta, she'll do a promotion where she bundles together a bunch of things. Well, that's a new offer. So that might be her. She just did a 12 Days of Christmas promotion. So she kind of called that offer the 12 Days of Christmas. And she gave it a name, and she had a little look and feel that went with it. And she sold certain products at certain special price opportunities during those 12 days. So you might be running a new offer for a promotion, a new product that you're putting out, or a product you already have that you realize, oh, listening to Suzi and Michelle, I need to give it a facelift.
So good. And like I said, this is one of my favorite things. And that episode we mentioned, the What's in a Name, again, it comes with a really great download itself on some of the things to think about as you're naming your offers. And again, going back to my example earlier of 3 naturopaths who might have similar services, if one is named something really cool that kind of tells you what the result's going to be, that's going to stand out more than, I charge $97 an hour for my naturopathy. Very, very different game. So good.
So good. Now, the fifth area to focus on, we're building your own high converting offer, which is what we want you to get, is around this idea of risk reversal. Anytime we are asked to buy something, anytime it's on the table that we might be thinking about spending money, what do? We all have a slight clenching of the butt cheeks, a slight feeling of, oh, what if this goes wrong? Or what if this person doesn't do what they said they'll do? Or what if they're ripping me off? Or what if I'm making a bad decision? So risk is a natural part of the buying process. Do not worry about it. Embrace it. Realize this and build this knowledge into your offer. So what can you be doing to lower any potential concerns or perceived risks that your prospect might be having at the point of sale of buying your offer? Now, the kinds of things you can do to minimize risk, to reverse risk in the mind of your prospect, includes things like trial periods. If you've got a software product, let them get in and have a look around. Maybe you've got an easy returns policy if you have an online store. Maybe you've got a warranty if you sell a physical product. We bought some knives 1,000 billion million years ago, and they still keep replacing things when they break. It's incredible. It could include a guarantee of some kind, a satisfaction guarantee or a money back guarantee. We often see those.
And it's really important to remember that whether their finger is hovering over their mouse buying from you, if they're buying online, or if they're reading about your offer in a newspaper, or they're meeting with your salesperson, or looking at your written proposal, or visiting your physical brick and mortar store, the point at which someone is making that final decision to buy from you is when they are likely to be experiencing the most stress in the whole purchase process. It's also when they're going to be most acutely aware of all the risks that are presented to them if they make the wrong choice. Now, while some of the perceived risks may be the same from product to product, right? Your competitors probably have the same risks. Your specific customers may need a very different risk reversal process to my customers. And that's why it's crucial that you get into the hearts and minds of your customers to understand what are their concerns. What might be stopping them from handing over their credit card? What are the risks that they see when buying your product? So that could be something really important to dig into and investigate so that you can craft your risk reversal offer, whatever that is going to be right for your ideal client.
I work with a lot of clients on, selling courses and coaching programs and books and, all kinds of things, mentoring and, in-person events, etc. And I really like offering a guarantee, some kind of typically a money-back guarantee is my main form of risk reversal for those types of products. And I recommend every person has some form of risk reversal built into their offer. It doesn't always have to be a money-back guarantee, that it really does need to match what your client needs, the type of the offer that you're making. We'll talk a bit more about that. But it is important that it is relevant, that it really does reduce risk in the mind of your consumer, that you're not just ticking a box here, that you are overcoming the main concern that somebody might have, the risks they're perceiving with buying from you. Like, for example, there's a flower company. What's the main risk you perceive when you buy flowers? That they're not going to be fresh, that they're going
to be half-dead by the time you get them.
Yeah, and I've had that happen and I really hate it. You spend all this money on these flowers and they just wilt the next day and you feel ripped off. And so that's in my mind if I go to buy flowers again. Now, Pro Flowers realised that, so their guarantee was they'll be fresh for 7 days or we'll send you new ones. Now, that to me just eradicates any fear that I have these flowers are going to drop dead on me tomorrow. And if they do, they're going to fix it for me. So I'm going to choose Pro Flowers over whoever else, Flowers XYZ, because they're not offering that type of risk reversal. They're not addressing the risk like Pro Flowers are. There's a bed company. You can sleep on this bed for 100 days. It's a mattress company, actually. You can sleep on it for 100 days. 100 days. And if you don't like it, you can send it back. How outrageous is that? I have bought mattresses before and not liked them, and they're expensive. And, we've bought the toppers and all those things. This is such a great way to reduce the risk. Wusthof Knives, they're the knife company that we bought from. Lifetime workmanship guarantee.
And your risk reversal can be simple. It could be a 30-day or 60-day money-back guarantee. Now, we usually offer a 30-day guarantee, and we do that for the Her Business Network membership. We do it for the Marketing Success Mastermind. We even do it for our retreats. And it's right there on the information page and on the order form to help people feel comfortable moving forward. So right there when they're about to put their credit card in, they can see there's usually a big strip across the middle of the order form that says, hey, you know what? We wanted to make this a no-brainer for you and for you to feel really comfortable that if this isn't right for you, you're going to get your money back. And so that gets people to say yes. But the other thing that happens is we don't get refund requests.
Yeah, right.
We don't. We believe that. Now, I trust that as you're listening, you have a solid product or service and you're going to do the best by your clients. So it's really no skin off your nose. We have not found that since offering money back guarantees, which we've done for 1,000,000 years, that we get more refund requests. We actually don't get refund requests. But I do believe that it puts the client at ease and helps us sell more, gets people over the line.
And there we go, high conversion. If it can, at the point of making the decision, it's the final thing that helps somebody go, okay, look, if this doesn't work out, I can always get my money back. And sometimes we just need to do that rationalization for ourselves to take the action we really want to take. You're getting the sale. It's helping people to make that decision. And if you want a really handy framework for creating your guarantee, we've got one for you. Of course we do. There's an episode for that. It's episode 22, and it's a 4-step effective guarantee framework that we share with you. And it really is a criteria for your guarantee. It gives you a way to think about the time frame and maybe the objections or challenges that your guarantee is overcoming. So I encourage you to check that out also. And, to your point, Suzi, I think the important thing here, and it's always hard to do this if you haven't offered some sort of guarantee, is you need to include risk reversal in your offer. It's very rare that people call you on that money back guarantee, like you're experiencing, Suzi, unless you're just creating a shoddy product. And in that case, that's probably their prerogative, right? That's what they should do. But if we're all delivering a great product Very rare that people will take advantage of that, but very, very likely that it's going to get you a lot more sales. So don't be stingy with that guarantee. The stronger the guarantee, the better.
Right. And so if I've got a 7-day guarantee versus a 30-day guarantee, I'm going to go with the 30, because it's a stronger offer. If it's 100% of your money back, no questions asked, I'm going to go with that well, if you checked the 10 boxes and did your homework and, spun backwards 3 times, then I'll give you your money back. Totally different. I just want to mention, just before I go on, we've mentioned, I think, 3 other episodes in this episode that we think are a great companion. We are going to put links to those in our show notes page. And before we finish up today, we will give you the details of that show notes page. So don't feel like you have to write all those down. We're going to give them to you. Now, one more thing I want to say on this money back guarantee topic, and that is it's not always the right thing to offer a money back guarantee. There might be a better way. So I want to give you an example from masterminder Juliet Robinson. Her business is called Big Goals, and she provides really high value consulting services. Now, she doesn't want to say, I'm going to give you that $100,000 back after I've done 6 months of work. But there are other ways to reduce risk. So she could offer a smaller diagnostic first, like we suggested when we were talking about price. Then clients feel comfortable saying yes to that, and then they already love working with you and easily make that larger commitment down the line. And the main thing is to think about the fears or the perceived risks that your customer might be feeling, as I mentioned earlier, and they would be things that are holding them back from buying. So you want to really work to overcome those with something that you're doing with your offer. Or it could be a combination of things. It could be the price and the guarantee and the inclusions and all of that, and building the risk reversal into that.
Yeah, I find, you mentioned the way you packaged the product earlier in Juliet's example of, offering a smaller piece first. That's a risk reversal. So all these elements work together is what I think we're saying here, that they kind of contribute to create this overall undeniability. I have to have it. Now, number 6, the 6th thing in terms of these 7 universal elements that are in any high converting offer is a fun one. And it is all about bonuses. Now, I love a good bonus. I love to give a good bonus, and I love to buy a deal that comes with a great bonus. And to your point, Suzi, a bonus is another great way to overcome those fears or objections or risks that you were just mentioning that someone might be perceiving when considering whether they're going to take our offer or not. And so a good bonus, or even perhaps a group of bonuses grouped together in what's known as a bonus stack, if that's relevant to the type of offer you're making, is key to making your offer high converting. And it is a way to sweeten the deal. Somebody might already be thinking, yes, I like all of that. And then you offer this amazing bonus and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, stop, I'm in, I'm done. You can have more than one bonus. And it is also really important as you think about your bonuses to address objections. It's one of the most powerful ways you can overcome an objection that somebody might be experiencing. Now, what do we mean by objection? It's slightly different to risk. Risk is like, well, what if, I make the wrong choice, or what if I get in and I don't like it, or what if it doesn't work? That's kind of like a perceived risk. It's a little bit of an objection, but objection is more like the example I'm thinking of is Jeff Walker, who pioneered the product launch formula. He's been a previous guest on this show. He teaches people how to launch a product. Now, a natural objection, a question that comes up in people's minds, it's like, well, hang on a minute. I don't have a product. Why would I buy your course on launching a product when I haven't got a product? So he has a bonus that helps you to come up with your first product. Another bonus that he offers is how to grow an email list, because the way he teaches you to do it, you kind of need an email list. And so that's another objection that people will have. So he has a little course on how to get your first X number of subscribers. So you see how the gifts that he's giving to sweeten the deal are actually doing some really heavy lifting around having people go, oh, okay, well, let's see. He's going to help me create my product and give me the email list. Well, I think I'm ready to buy the product launch formula now.
I know bonuses definitely work for me. And like you, I have made many a decision knowing that there was a bonus. But to what Michelle is saying is like, how is this bonus going to help your clients overcome an objection? Just like with the Jeff Walker example that Michelle just gave you. And so bonuses is something that we've helped many of our masterminders build into their offers. And earlier we talked about Gillian Erskine. Now she has the piano teaching membership called the Studio, and she had a great bonus stack. And Michelle mentioned earlier, a bonus stack is a number of different bonuses as part of the offer. But one really clever thing that she did that I want to point out is that she included student passes to an online tool that she has. It's her proprietary product. It's called Practice Buddy. And each piano teacher who joins the Studio, her membership, gets 10 of these passes as a bonus. Now, they can either gift a student these passes or use it as a promotion to get students, or they can sell these passes, and the retail value of the pass is $50 each. So if the teacher wanted to sell those passes to students, that would be $500 in revenue that they would gain, which is more than the cost of the whole year of the Studio. So Gillian found a way to use a bonus to overcome any price objection from her potential customers, because she could honestly say, just sell these passes and you've more than paid for your whole year. It's really quite genius.
Yeah, I love it. And she didn't get there in 5 minutes. That's a really good example of going deep, really thinking about getting clear on what the objection is, and then coming up with a creative way to overcome that objection. It took mental bandwidth, it took space, it took focus on building proactively a high converting offer. And that is something that you want to be doing. And I hope you've sort of got that gist from this episode. It's not something that takes 5 minutes. Even the best of the best, those people out there right now that you're seeing making these multi-million-dollar offers, authors, speakers, coaches, if that's the industry you're in, or those consultants getting the best, 6-figure contracts from the blue chip organizations or whatever it is, the best of the best slave over this. This is the thing that they put their time, their energy into, because they know it's going to make all the difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I wanted to also point out, Michelle, from Gillian's example, that you don't always have to make something new or create more work for yourself. She already had the Practice Buddy tool. So it costs no more to her to offer more guest passes, but it has a huge perception as far as the value. Now, another hot tip, and this is one, again, we find ourselves using with our masterminders, is take a look at your inclusions. We talked about them earlier. What are the things that are included in your product or service? Can you take something out of there and position it as a bonus? Because if you've got a lot of inclusions and things are getting lost anyway, then is there something you could pull out and mention it as a bonus? For example, free delivery might be something you have as an inclusion, but if you add it as a bonus, it doesn't change anything for your bottom line. You were doing it anyway, but now it gives this perception of additional value that you're giving through this bonus.
And you can just see the way that could be delivered in like a video or an ad or something like that. Like, hey, we're going to give you this and this and this. And by the way, if you buy before this date, we're going to give you this great bonus. Anybody who does that is going to get free delivery. Now people are like, what? Okay, I was worried about the freight cost. Now you've just totally blitzed that objection.
Right.
Now the seventh element, the final one we got there, is of a high converting offer is scarcity. Or maybe think of this as a reason to buy now. What is going to make me feel a degree of urgency around taking your offer today versus putting it off till later? Because, we all like to put off decisions. So you really want to bake into your offer some kind of scarcity. Perhaps it's based on time, like the time is scarce, like it's going to expire on a set date. Or it could be based on quantity. I've only got 100 of these available, and when they're gone, they're gone. But something needs to happen at the end of a certain period, or when those certain quantity are sold out, that is seen as a negative consequence for the customer, for that prospective customer. So, for example, you might be about to put your prices up. Suzi and I will always just clap our hands when you've got to put your prices up. We go, do a campaign right before you put the price up that says, this is the last time I'm offering it at this price. So, get all of my current year's stock, or get my coaching. The last time you'll get my coaching program at this price. Next time it's going to be $3,000 more, or whatever it is. So the price is going to go up, or the bonus is going to go away. Hey, we're only doing free shipping for the month of October. or the extended warranty period is going to go from lifetime to 3 years, or whatever it is, something goes away, something happens that's going to make me think I've got to take action before that happens.
Right. And the thing that might happen in your case, if you're a service provider, is I can only take on 3 clients in the next quarter. So there's only 3 places available. And for many of you who have service businesses, you do actually have an upper limit as to how many clients you can get. But this is an invisible opportunity that perhaps you're not using in the way you craft your offer because you're not telling anybody. And so you want to make that invisible part of your offer visible by way of this scarcity. Now, this idea of scarcity is, it's a common word, but the scarcity principle is one of Robert Cialdini's 7 influence principles. Robert Cialdini is the author of a book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, an incredible book that we highly recommend as part of our recommended reading list every single year. And it's something that I know sits at my desk for both me and Michelle as a great reference book. You'll recognize some of the other principles, but this one here, scarcity, I love because in the context of an offer, it is really what can get people to, as Michelle said, act now. It's a way for people to take action. And you use this scarcity principle in this conversion stage of the buyer's journey. It's very, very, very powerful. And you might already, like I said, have a capacity issue or have limited quantity, but you're not highlighting that. So we want you to bring that to the fore.
Yeah, build that into your irresistible offer, your high converting offer. So just knowing that you need that, you might have had that sitting there all along, and now you can use it. And Cialdini only mentioned 6 principles, and this is one of the big 6. This idea of scarcity, this idea of creating a situation where people feel a sense of urgency. And why is that? Because a lot of us, most of us, almost all of us, are deadline dancers. What does that mean? We wait till the deadline. And so many of our masterminders see this, and I see this with my clients. And Suzi, I'm pretty sure you see this also with your launches. We open cart, we open the promotion, and there's often a big spike in sales early on, like day one, because you've been you've been getting demand kind of pent up. You've been telling people this offer is coming. So you get all those early adopters dive on in. And then sales might dip down for a few days. And then there's another big spike right on the cart close. That is when the offer is going away. The offer's closing or the bonus is going away or whatever that scarcity thing is that you're doing. And it looks like the shape of a hammock, your sales chart, big on the first day, sort of a little, ho-hum in the middle, and then peaking again on the deadline. Now, why is that? Because it's all those deadline dancers out there who go, oh my gosh, I wanted to jump on that. I've just been meaning to get to it. Oh, it's going. I better grab it. So think about it. We're all busy. Many of us need that final, hey, this is really important and you've got to do it right now because this is not going to be here anymore and you're going to miss out. And that's the nudge that often we need right at the point of making the buying decision.
Thanks, Michelle. So what we've been talking about in this episode is how to craft an offer that sells. And we've given you the 7 elements of a high converting offer. And I want to recap those really quickly for you. The first thing we're talking about is price. How are you pricing your offer? The second element is inclusions. What is included in your offer? The third is naming. What are you going to call this offer? And the fourth is branding. How will you create a unique brand, look, feel for this offer? And then we talked about number 5, risk reversal. What are you doing to minimize your customers' risk when they take up your offer? Number 6, bonuses. And we recommend that you include at least 1 bonus. And we gave you a few tips on how to come up with those bonuses. And 7 is scarcity. What is going to be the reason that someone needs to buy now versus putting that decision off for later? Now, we've got all the links and resources that we mentioned in this episode, including the bonus download, the Ultimate High Converting Offer Blueprint, which includes a worksheet for you where you can actually map out these 7 elements to create your high converting offer. And we've got that for you in today's show notes. And as I said, I'm going to share a link with you on where you can get those. But first, we love sharing tips like those in this episode with business owners. So whether you're a brand new listener or you've been listening for a while, we appreciate you being here. We want to share this as far as possible because, we mentioned earlier those statistics, 13% of women business owners generating more than 100,000. Right? When you can craft these compelling offers, it's going to make more women able to generate more income in their businesses. So we would love it if you would leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. We have over 100 5-star reviews. So thank you so much for listening. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode, we would love it if you would go ahead and leave us your rating, your review over on Apple Podcasts. Now, this year has started off strong with a number of reviews, and I want to share one of those now. This is from Zoe from Flightwear. Now, Flightwear curates ethical and sustainable garments and accessories using natural fibers and trims wherever possible. And the design of Zoe's pieces provides elevated comfort, beautiful and thoughtful details, with the number one priority being comfort. Sounds good. And now she went across to Apple Podcasts and she said this. She said, Content Sells is a game changer. Thank you, Suzi and Michelle, for sharing your genius. I have a startup ethical and sustainable fashion label and have been binging the back catalogue of Content Sells. I'm currently up to episode 204. Wow, great job. There are so many excellent episodes, but a standout episode was 199, Creating a Runway. Not just because I design travel wear and love planes, but it brought together so many components mentioned in other episodes as a high-level concept. Thank you for sharing practical and easy to implement marketing strategies. You're both awesome. Zoe from Flightwear. So thank you, Zoe. We appreciate your comments, and thanks to everyone who leave a rating and review. It really makes a difference. And Zoe, we're going to put a link to your business in our show notes, and I am going to look you up because I fly a lot, as does Michelle.
Yeah, me too.
I'm always looking for good flightwear.
Yeah, same. Great name. And by the way, what a great name.
Great name. So thank you for joining us on what has been, I believe, a value-packed episode. You'll definitely want to get your hands on the special download. So to go with today's content, you want to grab your ultimate high-converting offer blueprint, and you can get that and links to all the other episodes and resources that we've mentioned over at herbusiness.com/craft an offer. That's all one word, herbusiness.com/craft an offer. Michelle, what do we have coming up in the next episode?
Well, Suzi, you've declared this the year of the offer, and we are going to stay on this theme. And so we're going to actually do something really. I don't think we've ever done this before on a show. We very kindly, Gillian, who we've mentioned a few times on today's episode, who has this great offer for her membership for the studio, she has kindly allowed us to do a case study, a deeper dive onto the 7 elements and how they play out in her offer. And we're even going to include screenshots of exactly what she's done on her sales page to communicate all of these things. You can see exactly what bonuses she offered, exactly how she presented her inclusions, exactly how she kind of did her risk reversal. And I just love it when I'm trying to learn something new, when I can see a real life application. Things make sense kind of in theory, but when you see someone who's done it, someone like me, someone like you who's done it, it's like, oh, I could do that. I see how it works. So we're doing a deep dive on Gillian's offer for the studio as a case study, and we're going to show you all 7 elements in the next episode.
And that's coming up, as Michelle said, in the next episode. If you don't already subscribe to the show, make sure that you click follow or subscribe wherever you are listening so that you get that downloaded automatically. Now, obviously, it's a postcard. And Michelle just said we're going to show you images and things. We are putting together a little takeaway download so you'll be able to see Gillian's exact inclusions, bonuses, guarantee, all those things in a visual format. Because like Michelle said, I love when I can actually visualize something. Oh, that's what you want me to do? Oh, that's how to present it? So that's a little gift from us, and that's coming up in the next episode of the show. Now, Michelle, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Suzi, I just wanted to mention we have spoken a lot about the Her Business Marketing Success Mastermind today, and that you and I host. And so I just wanted to say to our listener, dear listener, if you are curious about how you can get help with things like your own high converting offer, and you're curious about joining the mastermind, and you're a business owner who's already hitting that 6-figure mark, or you're knocking on the door of it and you want to grow, we want to talk to you. and we want to see if this is the right next step for you. We do take a small number of mastermind members. So all you got to do is go over to herbusinessmastermind.com. That's herbusinessmastermind.com. And what will happen is you just click the application form, and that will give you an opportunity to book a call to get some time with Suzi and I. And we will chat to you and confirm if this is the right next step for you. So all you need to do is apply, tell us a bit of things about your business as well, and we can get that call scheduled.
So good. So we have seen firsthand how much faster you can get to that high converting offer with the help of people who've already walked that path ahead of you. And Michelle and I, between us, have generated literally millions of dollars in high converting offers and helped, again, literally thousands of people to create their own offers. So we would love to chat with you if you're curious about getting more support from us inside of the Her Business Marketing Success Mastermind. And that link again to apply and set up a time to chat. There's no obligation when you apply, but it gives you access to get it on a call with us. You head over to herbusinessmastermind.com to get those details. I want to thank you so much for listening. We wish you all the best with your high converting offer. We'll see you next time right here on the Content Sells podcast. Bye for now.